Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Mouse Minds. We are here live streaming for you on YouTube. Of course, as always, I'm joined here with Michael,
Hello, everybody.
and we are here live for you on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, so many different places. But we are streaming live for you. Of course, we record this and post it on our on your favorite podcasting platform. So make sure to check us out on your favorite podcasting platforms. And of course, we stream live on the Disney and Beyond YouTube channel, which Michael and I were just talking about how we need to do more live streaming on our YouTube channel inside the park. So I know it's something that we're going to work on. Um, we obviously want to both of us want to get to the parks more, just to get to the parks more. I mean, we both love the parks, but we will work on that. I know I've done a couple live streams in the park. It's always fun walking around with you guys, having you guys join me while I'm in the parks and enjoying that while I'm there. So we'll try to make that a little bit more of a priority for you too. It's just, you know, sometimes it gets difficult to get over to the parks. Life just gets in the way. But we were also talking about a couple different things, before we got on this. Of course, this week we want to talk about 4th of July. Of course, 4th of July is coming up for the parks. Actually, I'll try to post this out sooner so that way we get it to you before the 4th of July kicks in because it is on Friday this year.
I don't know if we lost me or if we lost Robert. Last week we were having some problems with my audio. This week I don't know if Robert just left or if I'm on hold or on freeze. So we'll just keep it going. For the first time ever, and I will not be in the parks because of my past, but I will be at Walt Disney World for Independence Day, which will be an experience. Not really sure what to expect crowd wise outside of just pure and total insanity. Uh, Trying to find a good place to watch fireworks. I think the problem is that you have so many people staying at the value motels that there are no fireworks nearby. So they're all going to try to make their way over and think that they can go stand on the beach at the Polynesian or the Grand Floridian. And then when they get over there, they find out, hey, where's your wristband? You're not staying here. So, hey, Robert, was that you
That,
or was that me?
what was what?
One of us disappeared.
Yeah, that was me.
Okay, no problem. So I was trying to keep the conversation
Yeah,
going because I know last week it was
yeah.
me, but yeah, I was just saying that I'll be up there for the first time this year. We're trying to determine if we want to try to watch the fireworks or not. I'm
Ooh,
reading how
you
all
know
the
where you could go is the try to get you'd have to probably you'd probably have to hang out for a minute, but if you want to try the Walulu at the Polynesian, that's a good spot for fireworks and they pipe in the audio.
yeah, I just have to see if they're going to start limiting like they do at the beaches
I
to
don't
just
I don't
guests. I
think
don't
they
know.
would there just because of the fact that it's a restaurant, you're actually eating food. I
Hmm.
would say your best bet would be to park at the TTC
Yep.
and then because they're probably not going to let you park at the resort itself.
Right.
That's probably a no go for sure.
Yep.
Um,
Which is what I was counting on.
um,
I may
exactly.
try to just
But
go up to the Villain Lounge, and I know that place will be
yeah, it's
packed
true
too.
too.
But use the DVC lounge, use my DVC access, and hopefully we can bring up the whole family because we have a
That's a good
family coming up
idea.
to stay for the weekend, and then we're all going to go up. We took some rooms across property, so that's the plan. We'll see what happens, but I'm excited. Haven't done this before. Usually I try to stay away during major holidays, but
Well, 4th of July isn't too bad. I mean, Epcot has an amazing fireworks show. So does Magic Kingdom. I think this year I'm going to be I'm gonna do something different this year, and I'm actually think this year I'm gonna go to Legoland and see their fireworks show this year.
Nice.
As kind of like a last minute change, but I think I'm gonna try that this year because they're open till 9. So I think I'm gonna try that this year. I always like religiously go to Epcot, so this will be a big change for me. But I'm excited because I'm gonna go with my daughter. So I'm gonna go to Legoland, um, and check that out this year. And then, but yeah, I can tell you the Epcot fireworks, the Magic Kingdom fireworks are fantastic. But like you said, they're very strict on those days. They don't want a bunch of non-guests piling up the beach. They don't want, but like if you're eating at a restaurant, it's different. Like if you go to a restaurant or a bar or something and hang out, they generally don't care because you're actively spending money, so they're not going to kick you out.
Right. But all
Um,
the 8 o'clock reservations have been booked months in
oh,
advance, and there's nothing available for
of
firework times.
course,
Don't go to Narcoossee's expecting to grab an 8 o'clock so you can sit, or Citrico's.
of course.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah, that's yeah. That's not happening anywhere on property at any of the parks, because they are going to have those special fireworks shows. So
And my
yeah,
plans
but
were just made last minute. I mean, we literally booked this week. So this was never in the cards, so I'm just going to have to, deal with what comes.
the same with my plans. The same with my plans because I always do Epcot on New Year's Eve and 4th of July. Those are my two like I always do it because number one, Epcot, I love to see Voices of Liberty on 4th of July, which I may still do that. Um and then number two, I love the fireworks show at Epcot. It is so 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 good. Um when they shoot the fireworks. If you haven't seen the show, look it up on YouTube and what is it called? Heartbeat of Freedom. The audio soundtrack is to that is incredible. It is so 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 good, including some sound bites from some of America's greatest historical figures. Um, and then also when they shoot those fireworks behind the American Pavilion, it is just it's like it gives me goosebumps every time. You can't feel. There's no way everyone in that park doesn't feel patriotic, even if you're not from this country, uh, even the slightest after seeing that fireworks show. Now, and that's not to say Magic doesn't have a good fireworks show too. They do, but the thing with Magic Kingdom is it's they try to do like an American theme, and there's American like they have some like music made by American composers and stuff like that. But you also I don't know, it's not as I mean
Patriotic, I
if
guess, right? Not
yeah, because Mickey and Minnie are involved and Goofy's involved, I think too, and it's a whole thing. It's just not as patriotic as seeing the American Adventure and seeing the and I guess it also adds to the fact because the American Adventure is sort of that colonial period. That's what it's modeled after. So seeing that too on the 4th of July, and then also being able to see the ride the American Adventure, see Voices of Liberty, do the whole pavilion. Um, I mean, Magic Kingdom does have a Hall of Presidents. It does have Liberty Square.
which
It
reopened
is
recently,
nice.
right? So that's back.
Um, yeah, that just came back.
Yep.
Not since like what last weekend or something.
Yeah, very
But
recently.
yeah. So I mean, I mean, you can't really go wrong. What was it? I don't know if they still do it. Let me look and see, because Hollywood Studios. Um, hold on one second. Let me see here. Because if I remember correctly, um, they had a I know they had a 4th of July fireworks show at Hollywood Studios. I've seen it before. I don't think they do it anymore, but it was like Rockin' in America or something like that, and it was like a bunch of rock like rock bands, or I don't know how to describe it. Oh, I don't even know. It was like a bunch of rock music, um, playing. Yeah, oh my gosh. Like one of the songs was oh, who sings it? The Living in America. Oh, I can't think of the guy who sings that. He was in Rocky 4 too. He was singing it in Rocky 4. Oh, I can't think of his name. A major guy. I can't remember his name. Someone will tell me in the chat somewhere. But they had like that playing, and then there was like the what's the song by Neil Diamond? They're coming to America. Like all those types of songs, like songs about America that are rock songs. And it was like a whole mix, and it was actually really good. But they don't. I don't think they do that anymore.
I
We're trying
hope
to see.
not. See, that would be enough to make me not go
Oh no,
see these
it was
things.
so good. Oh no, no,
I could
no. I'm
sit
telling
home
you, it was
and listen
good.
to those crap songs. I don't need
Oh,
Disney to
oh
play
no,
it
no,
for
no,
me.
no, no. No, 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 no. It's good. It's good. I thought it was good. I thought it was good. I thought it was pretty amazing. But yeah, they don't. I don't know the last time I've seen a show there for the Fourth of July. I've seen it before. I saw it once, but um, yeah, I don't remember who sings it. Oh my gosh, I'm really this is really annoying me that I don't know who sings the song. And when I see it, I'm gonna be so mad at myself because I'm looking it up now. But yeah. So they did that, and James Brown. Wow, how could I not remember James Brown? So yeah. So they did that. That was pretty good. But then I don't think they do that anymore. At least I haven't heard of them do. I'm sure they have their regular like Star Wars fireworks shows, stuff like that, fireworks shows that they do there. Um, I
One
don't even know
second.
the last time I've seen fireworks at Hollywood Studios. I know they do them there, but I haven't seen it. But yeah, so and Epcot and Magic have Epcot has the best fireworks show at Disney. Magic has a good one as well. Um, but it's all around the park. They do. We have, I think the Dapper Dans do a special concert for Fourth of July, and of course Voice of the Liberty. I mean, if you haven't seen Voice of the Liberty on Fourth of July, you have to see that at least once, because they rehearse weeks in advance for that show because it is a big deal for them. And if I remember correctly, um, I don't know, because I think last year they did it they did the show in the Rotunda, which is inside the American Adventure. But I know I don't, actually, I don't remember. I don't know where it is this year. I'd have to look it up and see. Let me see here. Because what they usually do is they usually do it on the main stage. Um, but let's see here. It looks like well, in the rotunda. So they're doing it inside the rotunda this year. They used to do it out on the main stage, and they would do the national anthem, but with Mickey, Donald, and Goofy all dressed up in their colonial attire, and they would have them. One of them, I think Donald has the drum, and then Mickey and Goofy are just standing up there on stage, and they would, put their hand on their heart and do the national anthem. And it was pretty cool to see that with the Voice of the Liberty and see the characters. Now I'm pretty sure they don't do that in the rotunda. Because I don't remember seeing that last year in the rotunda. Well, they don't have enough space for that. Um, but they do sing all you know, the normal like Independence Day American songs inside, like Yankee Doodle, or I think they'll do the national anthem. There's a bunch of songs that they'll do. I don't remember the full set list. But honestly, if you've seen the Voice of Liberty, seeing them on stage at the Epcot, at the American Adventure Pavilion and the American Gardens Theater is nice. But honestly, the Rotunda, it sounds so much better in the Rotunda.
I think the acoustics would be so much better in the rotunda
Yes, they
than doing
are.
it at an
That's the
outdoor
thing.
venue. Yeah.
Because even though they're amplified and they give them microphones when they go to the main stage, it sounds good. but there's something, there's more warmth, I guess you could
Hmm.
say, when you see it in the rotunda, because the acoustics of that building and the way the sound vibrates off the walls, it's just so much better. It's so much better. So maybe that's why they do it in the rotunda. I don't know. Well, actually, um, do they have? Don't they have? Maybe they do. They have a? Well, no, because they had the food. They had the concert series going on before, and they just did them. I don't know. I don't know why they do it in the rotunda, but they do it in the rotunda now. So,
It
but they
could
used
just
to
be
do
for the
it on the main
sound,
stage.
you know.
Yeah, because they only do it till 3:45. So I know, like I said, they used to split that. They used to do it in the morning, and then they would have some sort of concert at night on the main stage at the American Gardens Theater. But now they just do it in the rotunda. But it is a very, very, very good show. If you want to see the old video of if you look on the Disney and Beyond channel, which you're on right now, you can find video of when they did it on the main stage. It is it is very good. It is very good when they do the national anthem with the characters up there. I mean, it sounds cheesy maybe, but it is so good, and they do such a great job with the national anthem. It's just incredible. So my hat's off to the fine folks at Voice of Liberty. If you've never seen the Voice of Liberty, you must see the Voice of Liberty. I don't care what country you are from. You want to talk about talent? That is, I mean, that is some of the best talent in that park. Between them and Mariachi Cobre, both of which have been there since the dawn of Epcot. You cannot go wrong with either one of those. Extreme amount of talent in both of those groups. But
Last
on
time
the
I
Fourth
saw
of
the
July,
Voices of Liberty, they were not in their garb. They sounded great, but it kind of lost something when they didn't have their costumes on. It looked like they just picked up a few people from the parking lot
hmm.
and said, "Hey, do you want to sing tonight?" Ruined it, or didn't ruin it, but it kind of stripped away the the uh, the atmosphere, I guess, or whatever word I'm going for there.
Yeah, no, I can totally understand that, and that totally would take away because that's one of the key points. Obviously, is seeing them here. Let me see here if I can load this so you can see them in their oops, attire here. I don't know if I have a picture. Well, I mean, if you let me see if I can like do something with my screen here. But yeah, so you know, seeing them in their full attire, of course, they have wonderful costumes. They
Mhm.
look you know, here, hold on, let me see. Allow to share window here. Let me see. So you can see here, I'll throw this up there. So there's their attire right there.
That's the
So you can
normal, or
see
that's the 4th of July? Do they do something more
that is the
spectacular?
normal.
Right.
They don't change that much for the 4th of July. That's kind of their normal attire.
Or
So they
maybe
don't really
it's too
change.
modern. Remember, they used to have, from what I remember, I thought they did more of a colonial feel.
E- well,
Or is this their
I
their
I
regular?
mean, this is kind of their normal like oh, that's the. I mean, yeah, I see what you're talking about here. This is like the modern style. This here would be their more colonial look. Um, but yeah, I see what you're talking about here with this outfit here, and I've seen them in that outfit. I mean, it doesn't take away too much for me, but I get why it would take away from the show itself if you saw that attire because it's not what you're used to seeing. But
Hmm.
yeah, I haven't seen. Let me see if I can. Let me see something here. If I can, I don't know if I can do this, but I'll try. See if we can. I can show you some of that that the Voices of Liberty on stage because when they get up there, man, it's just incredible. It is. Um, hold on one second. All right, let's see here. Yeah, this is now this they do in their uh regular attire, but here, I'm gonna pull this up here. Let me see if I can get this. I'll just play a little snippet of this here so you guys can kind of see what we're. Let me see here. I don't know. You probably can't hear that, but let me.
I don't see or hear anything.
Yeah, hold on one second. I'm gonna work on that right now. Okay. I'm gonna share my screen with you guys. Let's share this window. I don't know if it's sharing the audio from that window. I can't tell.
I can't hear anything.
Yeah, it's not sharing the audio.
Okay.
But you can see they have on the you can see the characters standing over there in the corner, and then you see them on the stage singing. And of course, they're not in their colonial outfits, but it's still an amazing show. And they used to do this on, like I said, the American Gardens theater stage. So that was actually pretty awesome that they did that. So it was a pretty cool. They did that every year, and it was fantastic. Now they do it in the rotunda. It's you know, but yeah, but I still enjoy it. It's just a different show.
Nice.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm sure there'll be usually like when they have a major holiday like this, they also have characters around at the hotels and things like that. So there's a good chance that you may have character sightings at some of the resorts. I know like for Easter, like they do it for Easter, like Christmas. I don't know if they do it for 4th of July, but that's another thing you might see too. Like you just have a random character in the lobby of the Grand Floridian or the lobby of the Contemporary or something like that. That's a thing that happens on major holidays too. But I don't know if they'll be doing that this year. If they're doing it at all, especially at the Grand, because I know they've completely gutted the lobby of the Grand. Which if you
Yes.
haven't seen that already, oh my gosh, they're doing a lot of work there. So it'll be interesting to see when that one is finished.
Yeah, they're going to add a little bar downstairs. A lot of nice stuff when it's done, but right now it's even the check-in desk is being remodeled. Like they moved the whole check-in process to the center where you walk in with little stanchions and things. It feels very unofficial.
Yeah, I will agree with that. Here, I'll show you just kind of some of the here. I'll throw this up on this. I'll share this on for you guys so you can see this kind of what's going on there because it's crazy what's going on there. So you can see they got the walls up around parts of the area there, and they are just constructing. I assume that's maybe where the bar is going to go. I'm not 100% sure, but some of it is open. But I think now, if I remember correctly, the whole thing is completely closed off. But I'm not 100% sure on that.
No,
It
you can
might
still
still be
pass
just
through a
that
little bit,
section.
but it's not. There's no smooth flow,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah. Which I mean that the probably the nicest lobby of any of the Disney resorts. Well, Grandestino is pretty nice. Grandestino is pretty nice. That would be I don't know. It would be a toss up for me between the Grandestino and the Grandestino Tower lobby at Coronado Springs and this. I mean, this is certainly, but you have monorail access here, so I guess that wins because of that. But it's going to be interesting to see that. I mean, we're adding another bar to the Grand Floridian, which is going to be interesting because we just got the Rose. What do they call that? What do they call the bar in the second floor there? I don't even remember now.
Oh, yeah, the right. I know which one you're talking about. The
That
one
they
that
just the Beauty and
replaced,
the Beast, the Beauty and the Beast
yeah,
themed bar.
replaced
Um,
Meisner's.
the Enchanted Rose, the
Yep,
Enchanted Rose.
that was where
So
Meisner's was, right?
yes, that was where Meisner's
Or
was.
Misner's or
Now
whatever.
I will say the one thing that um, that I'm really interested to see what they do with the lobby here is the Garden View Tea Room. Now, this was always a big draw for people. People like to have tea at the Garden View Tea Room on the right adjacent to the lobby there, in the back there. And I remember, growing up. my mother would go there and have tea there. I actually wanted to take my daughter there, but ever since COVID, they've kept that closed. It has just not been open. So
Hmm.
I don't know if that's something that they're going to reopen as part of the refurbishment. Maybe that's where the bar is going to go. I don't know. I'm not 100% up to date on the plans for that specific construction there. But if you do want tea, you can go to the cake bake shop, and I've seen a lot of people having tea there. I'm sure it's fantastic. Every just keep in mind everything at the cake bake shop is a little bit on the pricey side. But they do have good stuff there. I will say, because of course, when the cake bake shop opened, everyone went off about the $25 cake slices, at the cake bake shop, which I tried them and they were good. It's not something I want to have every time, but maybe every once in a while is like a treat, you know. But they do have good stuff there. It's just nothing that is like over the top amazing that makes me want to go there all the time.
Sure.
But if I really want cake really badly and I have to have something, and I don't mind waiting, I'll go to Gideon's and wait at Gideon's for that. But again, Gideon's is like a 3-4 hour wait
Nah, you
sometimes.
go to the one downtown. There's no line.
Yes,
The
yes,
real location, not the
100%.
not
The
the Disney Sea
real
location.
OG
Yep.
location at the Easton Market where I used to go to before it was at Disney Springs. And the owner, Steve, was there, and who I'm friends with. And we would chat all the time. And he's such a nice guy. And he is just an incredible, incredible, uh, imagination with that guy when it comes to the design of both locations. But yeah, you got to go to the OG if you're in the area and you got the means to get out of the bubble. Then go to the OG. You're saving yourself a lot of time waiting, and there's a lot of other stuff inside Easton Market that is really good too. So you won't be disappointed. But yeah, but I'm curious to see what they do with the tea room. I'm curious to see what the finished lobby, is going to. Oh, here's like an artist rendering. Let me throw
Let's
this
take
up.
a look.
So this
Sure.
answers our question of where the bar is going. It looks like. So let me see this here. So it looks like this is where what they're working on right now, and this is the bar right here. So
See,
the
looks so crowded. It almost gives me like a vibe of the third floor of the Contemporary.
the concourse level.
Yeah, we have all the restaurants, and you
Hmm.
stick a bar over here, and you got Chef Mickey's. And you got, that used to be a nice. I mean, it was wasted space,
Yeah.
but it had a
Well,
little
no,
more.
it wasn't
I
wasted
hope.
space. They had great seating in there, and they
Yeah.
had a huge before they put that gift shop in the middle, which
Right.
honestly, to me, that gift shop in the middle is complete overkill because they have the other gift shop in there. What is that other gift shop? The BVG, the BVG Gifts, Buena Vista Gifts, which is over there. That one is is perfectly fine. I don't know why they needed to add the second gift shop in there, but they have, and I it takes up so much space, and it used to be so much bigger. Um, when they didn't have that gift shop in there. But yeah, so that's what it's going to look like. The Grand Floridian. For those of you watching, it's basically where, like I think it was a giant bird cage there on the left. Um, I'm showing everyone on the live feed, like those who are listening can see that. But like the giant bird cage is now turned into a bar. So it'll be interesting to see when this plays out, what it'll look like. It honestly doesn't, now that I'm looking at the drawings for it, it doesn't look like anything too big of an upgrade. But it'll be nice. I'm sure they'll replace the carpet in there and everything else and do all that too. So um, we shall see. Time will tell. So yeah, so Fourth of July at the parks. We've gone over, the fireworks shows. Of course, if you want to, really kind of do things more American outside of the parks, I would suggest a trip over to Fort Wilderness. They have their campfire sing-along, s'mores. You could go out there to Clementine Beach and see the fireworks from there. You can also see the water parade. The water parade also has the American flag at the end of it, so that's something patriotic too. And you can see that from Clementine Beach at Fort Wilderness. You could also have a nice meal at the trails in there. Some great food there. You also have, if you could also do hoop-de-doo if you wanted to, kind of a classic Americana type show there from like the Wild West. But there's a lot of goings on there. I'm sure there'll be a lot of stuff going on there for Fourth of July at that property is at the campgrounds. I can't speak for the lodge, but definitely the campgrounds. I mean, there's going to be stuff going around everywhere. The one thing that's nice about major holidays at Disney is there's stuff going on all over the resort and not just the parks. There's stuff at the hotels, there's stuff at Disney Springs. So no matter where you are on property, there is something extra for you to do that doesn't necessarily require you to go into a park. Even if it's just a DJ by the pool, but there is stuff all over the parks. And of course, there'll be, uh, all kinds of treats and things like that all over the parks too. Let me go back up to my list here. Yeah, so there'll be dance parties at Magic Kingdom. Of course, themed treats. I'm sure there'll be themed treats inside Epcot as well. At the American Adventure Pavilion. There'll be red, white, and blue themed treats at the Main Street Confectionery. Of course, me and Michael were talking about this earlier, but one of the things they always talk about when they talk about either Veterans Day, Memorial Day, or 4th of July is, of course, the flag retreat ceremony at the Magic Kingdom, which, if you haven't seen that, go there at sunset and catch that. It is pretty awesome. It's nice to see, that little salutes of the flag, and then of course they have a veteran or come up there and actually receive the flag that flew that day as like a souvenir, which is really awesome, and that's a big thing for them. So that it's really cool to see that in person and have the Voices of Liberty sing with them and. Or not Voice of Liberty, the Dapper Dans.
Dapper Dan's.
Uh,
Yep.
yeah, the Dapper Dan sing with them. So that's always a nice show. I mean, they don't. It's not a Fourth of July thing, of course. Probably on the Fourth of July, I'm sure they do a special show because they probably get the most customers then for that one. But it is a great show if you haven't seen it already. And then yeah, and then if you are at Magic Kingdom for the fourth this year, please, 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 please ride the riverboat and go to Tom Sawyer's Island because we are losing those after Sunday. So
Yeah.
there will be no more Tom Sawyer's Island and no riverboat. I am actually going on Sunday to Magic Kingdom for both of those things. So we will see what that looks like. But I hope that Tom Sawyer's Island is crowded. It would be nice to see it crowded on its last day because it would be. I don't think I've ever been to Tom Sawyer's Island where it's actually been crowded. So it'll be nice to see that in person and see a bunch of people running around and enjoying the island. Now, of course, the island itself needs work, but obviously they're not going to do anything to it. But there are some things that are missing, like the Barrel Bridge, and there are some things they could fix up around the island. But you know, it,
Is the
it's
Barrel Bridge missing? Because I was just on it a few weeks
yes.
ago, where they've removed it.
Maybe they brought it back. When I
I
went
was
last
on
time,
there.
it was not there.
Yeah, I mean, apparently I haven't been on it in a few years because my center of gravity was a lot higher than that little railing, and I found myself having to walk across it. My wife's shorter; she made it through okay. We were on it a couple of weeks ago. Had a great time.
Yeah, that's yeah, I will have to go check because the last time I was there it was completely dismantled. and they had removed the barrel.
Hmm.
So maybe they put it
I don't
back,
know.
and
Or
maybe I just
well, I
haven't
mean, this week,
I haven't
whatever's left
noticed.
is what you go see. You know, it's going to be packed with vloggers and other people,
Yeah,
self-important people with their little cameras. Uh,
I'm sure for the last
sure.
day. Yeah, of
Yep.
course. Everyone, everyone will be fighting to drive the riverboat.
Right.
I know my brother went like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he got to drive the
Oh wow.
riverboat, and I was so
Nice.
jealous because they gave him like a whole like a not like a like a plaque, but it was on paper.
Okay.
And it said I drove the riverboat, and it was actually really neat. So get those in while you can because you won't be able to do that anymore. And love it or hate it, Cars is going there, as is Villains Land. And if you haven't seen any of the aerials floating around on your favorite social media platforms, there is a lot of land being cleared at the Magic Kingdom, and I mean a lot of land being cleared at the Magic Kingdom. So we're looking at some big expansions. Hopefully, we get some really amazing stuff, but it looks like it's going to be pretty big. And all, between Cars Land and, of course, Villains Land, which we're getting on back to the behind
Big Thunder.
Haunted Mansion
Yeah, and
there.
then don't just get used to having that crane up there for a very long time because there'll be probably more than one.
Yeah.
I mean, you see with the cranes that they have going up. Well, I guess they're building a bigger resort, but over at the new DVC resort, Fort Wilderness, it's like an army of 4 or 5, 6 cranes at any given time on the landscape.
Yeah, it's crazy, and we still have they're still working on Big Thunder over there too.
Hmm.
So which they've seen, there's been some visible progress on that, but we're still watching that as well, to see what's going on over there. And then of course, um, as far as attractions go, going into attractions, we have they're doing testing or cast member previews right now for Test
Yep.
Track. So that is officially live. And if you don't like spoilers, then pause for like a minute, 2 minutes. But if you do like spoilers, stay on because I will tell you, I've watched the videos for it. I've seen the POVs, and it looks awesome. It looks really good. Same track, everything on the ride track is the same, but the effects inside the ride, the scenes are completely different. What happens in the ride is completely different. If you don't care about spoilers, go watch some of the videos. I promise you, you will be amazed. It's actually pretty cool. There's a speed. I'm not going to give too much away, but there's a speed at the end of the ride, which I don't think is getting enough attention because it is downright incredible what they did with the speed tunnel at the end of the ride. If you just want my opinion, um, I know a lot of people are saying that it's not like a huge upgrade, and I agree. It's not a massive upgrade, but I mean, in a way, it is. It's not like a whole new attraction, but in a way, it is an upgrade because they redid the whole interior of the ride. Maybe the track's the same, maybe the cars are the same, but the interior of the ride is completely, completely different. And I was thinking about this. Speaking of Test Track, I was thinking about this the other day, and one of the things that I think that, and Michael, you can tell me how you feel about this. I think that attractions are best when they are sponsored.
Hmm.
And it feels like when attractions are sponsored, because the sponsors pay for the refurbishments, that we get a lot more refurbishments. I mean, look at how many refurbishments of Test Track we've had in the last, what, 10, 15
Yep.
years?
Keeping it fresh.
We're on our third version
Sure.
already. And Chevrolet is just keeping up with those refurbs, making it fresh, keeping the theme fresh. And we don't necessarily get that with some of the other attractions, especially inside Epcot. And I look at Spaceship Earth. I mean, it's going down for refurbishment. I think next month or the month after, but it's only like a 2 month refurbishment. So they're not going to do anything major to it. They're just going to fix what's already there. I don't does Spaceship Earth have is Siemens still the sponsor of Spaceship Earth right
I
now?
don't think there is a sponsor. Isn't that why they got rid of the lounge?
Yeah, that's what I don't think there is either. Um, yeah, it does not have a corporate sponsor. So I know it was Siemens before, but it is not Siemens anymore. So I just feel like because if if you are a fan of original Epcots, and you like more of the, I wouldn't say educational, but edutainment um, type attractions like Spaceship Earth, that have some basis in real life, not just in cartoons and characters and things like that, then sponsorships is the only way, honestly, that I think that's going to happen. And I don't know, what the future holds for sponsors at Disney. Um, it's one of those things like for Chevrolet, I think it works great because Chevrolet has, they can put the cars at the end of the attraction and they can get you in the cars, they can have you sit in the cars, they have like the advisors there that tell you about the cars, answer your questions. I'm sure they can, you know, um, set up some sort of test drive or something if you wanted to take a car for a test drive. But it really works well for them, and I think it has worked well for them because of that fact, that they can not only promote their brand, um, but also have those cars there to demonstrate. So that is something that I wish more attractions had at Epcot, because of the fact that I think it would lead to way more investment in the rides that we already have versus us sitting on like the Imagination Pavilion. It's been the same
Yeah.
forever, and without, I mean, unless they come out with a Figment movie, excuse me, unless they come out with a Figment movie or something of that nature, I don't know when they'll update that
I think a
attraction.
lot of the post shows are the same as they've been. Um, Mission Space. I mean, the one in. I mean, but then people are still using it. Maybe it's new for them. But when I exit Spaceship Earth, I don't even stop at any of those little games anymore.
Yeah,
I'm just out,
yeah,
And
yeah. Well, there's no point. I mean, you've done it once. They're not really in the games again. Not everything about Spaceship Earth is not
right,
maintained,
right, right.
and it's just because there's no there's no sponsorship. Look at the Wonders of Life Pavilion at Epcot, which was Wonders of Life. Then it transformed into abandoned, sort of, and then it went into the festival center for food and wine, and now they were going to turn it into the play pavilion, and that had a sponsor, and then I believe the sponsor pulled out, and now it just sits there abandoned.
Hmm.
And I just feel like unless there's a sponsor, that attraction is just going to sit there forever and not be anything. And I get it. Like, I'm sure it's a huge investment. I don't know what, I'm not going to pretend like I know what the investment would be for someone like Chevrolet when they do a refurbishment of Test Track. But, it has to be advantageous to the business. But I just think in this age with influencers and everything else that it's not something that they are considering, because there's so many people on YouTube that could reach a wider audience. What's the point of having a sponsorship. But I think in the case of Chevrolet, I think having somewhere where you can have an attraction, not only have an attraction, but have maybe at the end of the attraction your products and have them so people can actually see them in person or test drive them or whatever that product may be. Or if you are, learn more about your company. I still feel like those things matter to people that are coming into the parks, and I still feel like people would be swayed to purchase said products if they were shown them on a ride at the end of a ride, much like you have with Test Track. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah,
I still think the model could work.
I'm not going to go home and buy a Chevrolet because I sat in one for 2 minutes in Epcot. A lot of the ones they feature, the big flashy ones that most people aren't going to purchase. I know you have a
True.
couple of family vehicles there too, but apparently for them it's worth it, and they must be getting their money's worth. Otherwise, they wouldn't have signed up for tens of millions of dollars for another round of sponsorships.
I mean, I mean, maybe you're not the one who does that, but out of 50 people, if they get two, three, four people out of that, I mean, that's a lot of money right there. I think just having eyes on the products and obviously, um, throughout Epcot's history, sponsorship has been a big part of that between Communicore, Innovations. All these things were just, places for companies to demo their products from companies like Sega to I, I can't even remember half the companies that were at had been at in Innovations or Communicore in the past. I mean, there's been so many companies, AT&T, all these companies, and I understand that there's a different market, but with influencers and things like that, and how we reach consumers nowadays. But I still feel like they could make it could be something that would be worth it. My only my only thing I think that would be holding these companies back is the dollars and cents. The investment that they have to put into these attractions, is it worth it? And I just don't think I just don't I don't think it's there. But then again, without those investments, what does Disney do with something like Spaceship Earth? Where do they go next with something like Spaceship Earth? I mean, you have a ride that has a theme that is clearly about communication and always has been about communication and is a the entrance to the park. It's not something that you can just completely gut and completely retheme from scratch. I don't think you can do that either. So what do you do?
Well, remember, we can't even just blame Epcot for sponsorships. I mean, that's how Disneyland got built.
Yeah,
Sponsorships,
100%.
co-sponsorships. Yeah, that's all the money where well, a lot of it besides the partnership with ABC, but all
Yep,
your co-branded stuff, your Pepsis, your UNICEFs. I mean, that's how we got all the classic attractions.
yep.
The Carnation
Well,
Gardens. You throw some names up there, and hey, look, now it's. So for everyone who complains that Starbucks is on Main Street, they've been doing that since the 50s.
yeah, yeah. It's they have, and there's been the park has been constant sponsorships between even down to like the popcorn on Main Street is a sponsorship. Orville
Yep.
Redenbacher. So it's I do feel like, especially with Disney adult fans, Disney adults who go to the parks often, or even go to the parks once or twice a year, they connect with those brands inside the parks and choose to purchase from those brands because they were inside the parks. So I know it's not I don't know how much of an influence that would be or would affect their bottom line, but I still feel like there is merit in sponsorships and there is value in sponsorships. But I don't know to what extent monetarily that would be that they could actually, make something off. Would it be, what would be the ROI, like you said to me earlier? What would be the return on investment for doing a sponsorship like that? How much would they make in return?
Sure. I mean, they'll try it. If it's
So
still working, you still have it. The other problem,
yeah,
if they're going to start bringing in other countries, that's not just something done by Disney. That has to be financially worked out with that country. And are the countries looking to invest in theme parks right now? So, in
and
order to get
that's
a
another thing
Spain
too.
or anyone else.
Exactly, and that's another thing too. Those you know people always are asking, what's the next country? What's the next country that's coming to Epcot? And realistically, it's the one that wants to sponsor an attraction.
Yep.
That's just my opinion. I mean, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I mean, if they want to sponsor the country, I'm sure they'll do it. But yeah, I'm looking at it here, and Disney doesn't go after sponsors as much as they used to, but they do where it makes strategic sense. But I mean, um, I just feel like something like, say, Spaceship Earth or Imagination, it needs a sponsor, like it needs one bad, because if we get a sponsor, then we could get an updated. And there's nothing wrong with Spaceship Earth. It's one of those things where, like, I don't know how, like, it's been the same for so long, and we're so used to it changing, every like 5, 10 years. And now it's been how long since it's been updated? I mean, I don't even know when the last update was, um, for
But the thing
Spaceship
is,
Earth.
I don't think ridership is down even with the
That's true
existing,
too.
and then people will complain, "Oh, I missed the Jeremy
So,
Irons version." We can't stay in the past either. So
so the last update to Spaceship Earth was in 2007.
yeah,
So
and that was with the
2007, that was
that
with
was
Judy
Judy
Dench.
Dench. Yeah, I
Yep.
can't believe it's been that long.
Yeah,
We're
I can't
coming
believe
up
it's
on
been that
20
long
years.
either.
20
And
years.
there was one announced in 2019, which I remember that, and then of course the pandemic squashed
Yep.
that. And it looks like of course, they're doing a routine refurbishment beginning August 25th. But I mean, to be fair, with Epcot, they did spend a lot of money at Epcot on other things besides Spaceship Earth. They spent it on lights that don't work in the ground, that keep popping up out of the ground,
Uh,
and Communicore Hall, which is decent, but a nice little meeting area. But I haven't. I mean, honestly, I think Communicore Hall is better as a seating area with wall outlets than it is as a showpiece. I mean, right now they have the goofy
oh, that
dance
dance party.
in
Oh,
there,
yeah, that's
and
just drawing
it's
crowds.
and that well they it's only for kids, and like adults
Yeah.
cannot go in there.
No, there's no reason to. So, I
So
mean,
you can't. There's like loads of chairs in there, sitting up against the wall, and it's air conditioned in there.
mhm.
But they have it. You can't go in there. So I mean, I walked through it, but I didn't stay. But I mean, they did add Moana, and we got a couple of different things in there. But overall, I don't know.
Well,
But
they also added that statue of Walt that absolutely no one cares about anymore. You had 2 weeks of
I like
lines,
the
but now
statue
you
of
walk
Walt.
past. It's nice. No one's online to take pictures.
Yeah, they
I'm not
don't
even
take
sure they
pictures.
have a photo pass
Well, they had it
guy
closed off.
stationed there
They had it
anymore.
closed off recently too. It was closed off, so
Maybe they're trying to.
they had it like cordoned off. You couldn't go to it. So I don't know. Listen. You know what? I mean, obviously the pandemic threw a wrench in what was going to happen at Epcot. I think there was a lot more grandeur plans. Well, we know there was, because we had that preview center which had all the
Right.
plans in there, and
Yep.
then half of that got scrubbed. So there was a lot more in store for Epcot that we didn't get. which is one of the things where it's like, oh my God, if you could only imagine what it would have been like if they could have gone through with what they had planned for it, especially considering that we were on the cusp of getting a Mary Poppins attraction inside the UK pavilion, which would have been just the greatest thing ever. I can't think of anything better. So, um,
And I
you
know
know,
that people will still blame the pandemic. We didn't get this because and I know I keep going back to this, but I believe, and I don't know for sure, 100% of what was at the Epic Universe Preview Center has been installed in the park. I don't
mhm.
think they dropped anything. So if Universal could pull that off, what happened at Disney? Because it wasn't there. They promised a brand new park with a
Well,
lot of new things. Epcot, they were, what was it, 4 or 5 things they had, and we got 2 of them.
yeah, but I think too that I mean that one's a little different because um how much more have they spent, how much more capital expenditures have they had inside the other parks while they were working on Epic Universe? How many upgrades have we seen inside Islands of Adventure or inside Universal Studios now that we have Epic? And we
Sure.
haven't seen much. So Disney tries to, I think Disney is in this mode where they're trying to do things at every park, and they're doing like one smaller project at every park instead of doing like one major overhaul. I mean, I guess you could consider the Villains Land and the Cars Land like a major overhaul of Magic Kingdom, because they're clearing a lot of land for that. But I don't know. It's just interesting to think what we could have had at Epcot versus what we have now, which isn't it, I mean, I will admit that World Showplace looks nice. There's a lot of nice seating areas there, but it's pretty and it's functional when it's not raining because it's
Hmm.
all outdoors, and when it's not 90 degrees out. Like in fall, it's amazing out there. I've done it. But, when it's rainy season or it's hot outside, it's just not something you want to spend any time in.
Sure.
It just doesn't, I don't know. And then the lights, I mean, that's been a saga this whole time because, they keep coming out of the ground. The plastic keeps popping out of the ground. The lights they got them working again, and a week later they were broken. So it's just like I don't know what can be done with that situation. But it's I don't know. It feels like we got a bunch of stuff that just was necessary but isn't necessarily exciting.
Right.
Like we needed a new, we needed Connections Cafe. We needed a new, we needed to replace mouse gears. Like all those things are great and all those things are awesome, but they're not something that gets most people out of bed to go to Epcot.
You replaced a gift shop with a gift shop
Yeah,
is basically what happened, and an
yeah,
inferior one. So it's not like oh my God, we got a brand new. No, you got a gift shop where a gift
yeah,
shop used to be.
yeah.
So,
And the same with Connections Cafe. We got a restaurant where a restaurant used to be. We
right.
got a Starbucks at where a Starbucks used to be. Well, Starbucks used to be across the street, but
But still,
but
yeah,
we got a Starbucks, in the area where a Starbucks was. So
right.
and to be honest with you, neither one of those. I mean, I mean Starbucks. Yes, I do like the Starbucks there. They have that cake there. What is it? The Bamachung, I can't pronounce it. The roll like cake that they make on the roll there, on that machine. I do enjoy that, but the Connections Cafe, I'm not really a fan of Connections Cafe. I don't. There's not really anything there that makes me
Pizza,
want to go back there and eat there.
pizza's terrible. The food is subpar, at least on the other side by the little cafeteria side.
Hmm.
Um, neither one of those things is a reason to book a trip to Epcot.
Yeah, of
Haven't been to
course.
Disney in 4 years. Oh, they opened up a new gift shop. We need to go to Epcot now. That's not what's
Yeah,
going to draw the crowds.
Yep. The only thing that
So,
draws the crowds there is Guardians,
right.
Ratatouille.
You add
These
a
are the things
Guardians
that,
ride, people will go down and see it.
yeah, yeah. And I know you can't, and I know you can't do that every year, but if you're going to do a major overhaul of the park, which is what they were calling that at the time when they did it, I mean, it's got to be, I mean, Future World, Future World now looks like it's 60% done
Right.
because you have this amazing middle complex, Communicore Hall, all that stuff redone, connections, all that stuff. Then you have Guardians, which is redone. Then you have Test Track, which is redone. But Mission Space is still the same. You do have Moana, but the Living Seas with Nemo and Friends is the same. The Land
When was
Pavilion, the
when was the
same.
last time you were in Moana?
I think the last time I went, but I only go because it's a nice way to cool off, and there's
Hmm.
usually no one in there. It's usually empty,
Yeah.
and it's kind of fun to check it out. It's more fun at night, but you're right. It's not
And
that amazing of an
fact
attraction.
that you're saying it's empty, is another rough one. But
100%,
so
100%. But I mean, and I get things like even look at an attraction like Soarin'. Like you can go to Epcot now, and there's a good chance, even on a busy day, there will be some point in that day where Soarin' is a walk on.
hmm
And there was a point in time where that never happened. That never happened. And there was many, many, many years where that never happened. And now it's just because, that pavilion is so old and so run down, and you have to go down the escalators, and sometimes the escalators aren't working, and then you got to go into the back in there. You got to give people a reason to want to go back and navigate that pavilion to get to Soren. Like it's not like a simple like walk right in and you're there situation. And I mean they need to fix up the pavilion. No one cares about the movie that's there. No one even knows it exists.
yeah,
People do like the land, living with the land. That is always going to be a favorite for people. I think that's like Epcot's people mover. People will always love it. It'll always have a wait. It's just because it's a nice, relaxing ride. It's one of the few nice and relaxing rides in the park. But Soarin' is one of those things where it's a great attraction. I love it, but it's losing its popularity. And what are you going to do to bring? Is it a new movie? Do we do a new movie? What do we do? But I feel like a lot of things at Epcot are like that. Like it's just I know Spaceship Earth gets a lot of traction because it is at the entrance to the park. People walk in the entrance. That's the first ride they see. People ride it regardless. But, even still with that case, it still doesn't get an hour and a half, 2 hour wait like a Guardians does or
right.
something else. And I feel like if they did a massive refurbishment on it and, kept the theme but upgraded it, then I feel like it could get an hour wait. It's not going to be Guardians wait, but it could get an hour wait. It could get an hour. The capacity could go up as far as how many people want to ride it. I feel the same for the Imagination Pavilion. I feel sorry for Figment. He sits over there and back in the corner there, and again, not too many people go over there. So I
Yeah.
feel like Future World is like 60% done. And there's still a lot of work to be done, and hopefully that's what they announce next is some of these pavilions being redone, because World Showcase itself, I feel like, that's just countries. That's not going to change. All those major sites that they have there in World Showcase, those are always going to be there, so those countries don't necessarily have to be updated. You can update the restaurants inside there, you can update the food, but you don't necessarily have to update the exteriors.
Can they, and I don't think this would be back to the sponsorship, if they decided to put that Rhine River ride back into Germany,
That would be cool.
you don't necessarily need Germany to sponsor that, right? But
No,
I don't think France sponsored Ratatouille,
no. Well,
right?
here's the thing. Here's the thing about that, about stuff like that. So typically, what happens, and this is why, um, the parks were infiltrated. Our Epcot was infiltrated with the uh, the character, the movies, instead of like the sponsors, like like they took out Maelstrom to put in Frozen, is because of the fact that, if I'm not mistaken, the movie companies help foot the bill
Sure.
for those
Yeah, that division.
attractions. Yeah,
And
so
yeah,
and that's how they can afford to do it.
and merchandising. You've sold a lot more Olaf dolls than you ever did a troll or a random unbranded thing from Norway when it was just a generic gift shop.
Exactly. So they do that, comes from, different, um it comes from those companies. But I mean, it is, but it comes from like different budgets. But I mean, synergy, everything else, obviously you want to keep one hand washes the other, of course. But and of course you do sell a lot of merchandise when you put the characters and things like that in the park. But if if the sponsorships were still a thing, if sponsorships were still, everybody was, there was a waiting list, of 10 people to sponsor rides at Epcot, there would still be sponsored attractions at
Sure.
Epcot.
Yep.
It would be completely different. The characters would not be there, because everyone got up in arms when they put in Frozen. They said it doesn't belong in Epcot. It's a character-based attraction. Everyone threw a fit and said it was the worst. This was the death of Epcot. And and it's just because sponsorships are no longer a thing. So they got to do something.
I I can safely go on record as saying 102% of your average Disney visitors have never gone to Norway. So,
True,
to
true,
they're gonna enjoy. It's not like, oh my god, you took out my favorite country in the whole world. It's still
true,
there. It's just
true,
rethemed. And
true,
as far as you know, you're in Norway. It doesn't have to be Arendelle, and they don't even have an Arendelle sign up. It's just they shoehorned in this attraction that now there's more appeal. It's the
true,
same track ride, but I think the kids will go on it twice because Anna and Elsa are in there than they would if it was
true,
just Maelstrom.
true. You're 100% right. I mean, to be fair, like, I honestly don't have really. I mean, at first when we initially put the you know attractions in like that, I was a little resistant, because I grew up on the original Epcot. I grew up on sponsorships. I grew up on Communicore. I grew up on Innovations. Those were all the things that I went to as a child and I adored. I mean, I can't I can, I can't even count on my hands how many things I saw at Innovations before it actually became a thing in real life. All the cool tech from the future that, we're going to see in the future, and so on and so forth. So, that was a great experience for that. But again, sponsorships just, it's just they went away, and it's
Yep.
not. I don't know if it's ever going to be, yeah, profitable for them to do that. I mean, I would say honestly, I don't even know what the last sponsorship would be in there. But I mean, I just hope that they can maintain. Spaceship Earth needs a refreshment. A lot of these pavilions need some TLC.
Hmm.
Even I know that, like, the land pavilion gets people in there. Living with the Land gets people in there. Soarin' gets people in there, but when you look up and you look at the ceilings in these buildings and you see the water stains and you see the disrepair, you ride through the gardens inside Living with that Land and it's raining outside and you feel water drip on you because it's leaking through the little dome there. Like these are the things that need to like and I feel like, I don't want to sound like I'm being nitpicky, but you know, things like that. And I remember one time I went on Spaceship Earth and I got wet at the end of the attraction there when it's all dark and you see space
Yep.
and you see the Earth and the ceiling's right there and the water was coming through the ceiling and getting people wet. That's like obviously you can't see the damage from that because it's completely dark in there, but there's definitely damage there. Stuff is leaking and it's not like when you're riding an attraction, at Disney, which is, a major theme park company who has been doing this for years, you don't expect those kind of things. And I don't want to sound like I'm being nitpicky, but at the same regard, I mean, it does like throw you off a little bit.
You can't keep raising your prices and not spending some of that money on your infrastructure. So,
That's it
when you
right there. If you're paying a premium price, you expect a premium experience.
experience, sure.
And if you're not getting that, then you know they'll go somewhere else, which they'll go to Epic Universe where they can get a premium experience. Where Universal knows they have to fight for your dollars. And
Right.
honestly, I will end on this note because we've gone over an hour here. But I will tell people, like I've always told people in the past, in all the years that I've done shows and everything else and had a YouTube channel, if you do not like the current state of things at the parks enough to where you are just like me, I'm not at a point where like I'm just completely done. I still enjoy the parks. I enjoy the things you're doing, but if you're at a complete state where you just don't like anything in the parks, then don't go. If you really want to make change, if you really don't like the ticket prices, if you really don't like the prices, don't go because when you stop going, that's when the ticket prices start getting lower. That's when deals start coming out. That's when they start running specials on resorts. It happens all the time. We see it all the time, especially as locals. As soon as the attendance is down, the deal, you get now all of a sudden they're saying you can get 4 days at Disney for $200.
Hmm. For
You know
locals.
these it for locals,
Yep.
but I mean if people outside of the country or people in other states are not coming, and it'll eventually trickle down to them as well. Because they want the attendance, they want people to be there, they want you in the park. So the best thing you can do if you don't like it is just not go. Hit them where it hurts. Get
Which,
that keep attendance done.
it happens, but I think the days of empty parks are over, unfortunately, and we're just
I
dealing with
agree.
crowds as we can. So, all right, I'm gonna think we have to start wrapping this up here. We got work tomorrow, so it's good.
I
Thank you.
agree.
Good talk. Good
I
talk tonight.
agree. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this week's show. As always, um, you can um, you can find us on all your favorite podcasting platforms, typically on Friday at 5. I'll try to get those out not sooner since it's we kind of went off on a tangent, but we did talk about 4th of July stuff there, so check it out before 4th of July. But you can always find us on the Disney and Beyond channel on YouTube, and you can find us on Mouse Minds on Twitch, and of course on your favorite podcasting platform. So that's going to do it for this week. As I always say, if you can dream it, you can do it. And if there was nothing else, I will say have a great rest of your week, guys. Bye now.